The Galactic Council had declared humans too dangerous to interact with younger species. Their reasoning was sound, documented across 100 worlds. Humans bonded too easily, loved too fiercely, and refused to accept that some creatures were meant to remain wild. Liana hadn't read those reports. She'd crashed on Verath 7 3 months ago, her surveying ship reduced to scattered metal across the jungle canopy. The distress beacon was broken. The rations were gone. By all calculations, she should have died within weeks. Instead, she'd been adopted. The Verath were apex predators, scaled, six-limbed creatures with retractable claws and bioluminescent markings that pulsed with their moods. Adult Verath stood 8 feet tall and could tear through reinforced hull plating. The Council had quarantined their planet precisely because they were deemed too aggressive for uplift protocols. But Liana hadn't met the adults first. She'd met the cubs. Core had been the first. A juvenile male with amber scales and one torn ear. He'd found her bleeding by the wreckage, delirious with infection. She'd expected death. Instead, he'd dragged her to a cave, brought her water in his mouth, and stayed guard while she recovered. The others came later, curious, cautious, drawn by Core's strange obsession with the furless alien. Now there were 12 of them. All right. Bedtime, Liana announced, stretching her arms above her head. The translation implant in her throat converted her words into the clicking, harmonic language of the Verath. Immediately, chaos erupted. Core's scales flashed territorial orange. I sleep closest. I found her first. You slept closest last night. Zira, a smaller female with silver markings, hissed. It's my turn. Nobody asked you, Zira, rumbled Thex, the largest of the group. He was already positioning himself between Liana and the cave entrance. The biggest protects the Pack Mother. That's me. Pack Mother doesn't need protection from inside the cave, Rockhead. This from Pip, the youngest, who was trying to squeeze past Thex's bulk. She needs warmth. I'm the warmest. Liana pinched the bridge of her nose, fighting a smile. This happened every single night. The Galactic Council would lose their minds if they saw this, she muttered in human standard, a language none of them understood. Core's head swiveled toward her, his pupils dilating. He always knew when she spoke in her native tongue. It made him anxious, as if he feared she was calling for rescue, calling to leave them. She switched back to Verath. Core, you don't have to— I found you, he interrupted, his voice carrying that stubborn tone she'd come to recognize. When you were dying, when you couldn't even stand, I brought you here. It was true. And it was also true that without him, she wouldn't have survived long enough for the others to arrive. Wouldn't have learned their language. Wouldn't have accidentally become the strangest thing on this planet. A human who'd made a family of apex predators. And we're grateful, Liana said gently. But Zira has a point. The silver-scaled cub's bioluminescence flared triumphant blue. And so does Thex, and Pip, and all of you. The glowing dimmed. Disappointed clicking filled the cave. Liana had learned that humans possessed something most species didn't, an almost pathological need to nurture. Earth's evolutionary history had made them into pack bonders par excellence, capable of seeing family in anything with eyes. The Verath, for all their ferocity, were still young, still learning. And they'd latched onto her with the intensity of cubs who'd found something unprecedented. A creature that looked weak, but acted strong. That had no claws, but still hunted. That made strange sounds they called laughter when they played. She was their Pack Mother. Not because she'd tried to be, but because humans couldn't help themselves. Here's what we're going to do, Liana announced. Everyone gets a rotation. Core, you're on my right tonight because, yes, you found me first. Zira, you're on my left. Thex, you're at the entrance like you wanted. Pip, you're at my feet, and don't even pretend you don't love that spot. Pip's scales flushed pleased pink. The rest of you circle around. We're a pack, remember? That means we sleep like a pack. The cubs exchanged glances, their bioluminescence flickering in silent communication. Then slowly, they began to arrange themselves. Core claimed his position with smug satisfaction, pressing his scaled head against Liana's shoulder. Zira curled on the other side, purring, a sound like stones rolling in a riverbed. The others formed a protective ring, their combined body heat turning the cave into a warm cocoon. Liana ran her fingers through Core's scales, feeling the tension drain from his powerful frame. He was growing fast. Soon he'd be too large for this. Soon they'd all be too large, would reach maturity and have to rejoin the adult packs. Soon she'd be alone again. She pushed the thought away. Liana. Kor's voice was drowsy now, the aggressive edge gone. When the rescue ships come, will you tell them about us? She'd known this question was coming, had dreaded it. I'll tell them you saved my life, she said carefully. I'll tell them the Verath are more than the Council believes. Will you stay? Her throat tightened. The truth was complicated. She missed Earth. Missed her own species, missed technology that worked and food that didn't require hunting. But she also knew what would happen if she left. The Council would quarantine this world forever. These cubs, her cubs, would never see the stars, unless someone fought for them. I'll stay long enough to make sure you're okay, she whispered. Long enough to change some minds. Kor's purring deepened, satisfied with this answer in the way only the young could be satisfied with uncertain promises. Around her, the cubs settled into sleep, their breathing synchronizing, their bioluminescence dimming to a soft nightlight glow. 12 apex predators curled around one human woman who'd never intended to start a revolution but was doing it anyway. The Galactic Council was right about one thing. Humans were dangerous, just not in the way they thought. Liana closed her eyes, surrounded by warmth and scales and the rumbling sounds of her strange, impossible family, and smiled. Tomorrow she'd worry about rescue. Tomorrow she'd figure out how to convince the galaxy that monsters could be children, that predators could love, that family wasn't defined by species. Tonight, she just had to survive the bedtime routine.